So I will stop talking and I will introduce the next governor of Texas, Gina Hinojosa.
Thank you. Wow, so we pulled up and I was like, damn, people are really into curling. But this is an amazing crowd. I am Gina Hinojosa. I am running to be the next governor of Texas. So I have been in the Texas House for almost the last 10 years, but I know I've mostly worked in the Austin area, so I want to tell you a little bit about who I am. So what you should first know about me is that I never meant to run for office. I made my husband promise before we got married to never run for office. What happened was my son was in kindergarten. His school was going to be shut down along with lots of other schools in inner city Austin, and I got mad. I was just a mad mom, and I ran for the school board, and I won. And we saved our neighborhood public schools, and it reinforced for me the power of community to win when we come together for what we believe in. I love being on the school board. I highly recommend it if anybody is interested in that. I loved being there. I thought I would stay there. I served a term. I ran for the Texas House because I realized the reason our schools are shutting down all over this state is because the state, under Greg Abbott, they take our money and they don't put it back into our communities, into our schools. So I ran for the Texas House and I won. And that's where I have been in the trenches. I got elected with Donald Trump, 2016. And it has been a long road. What I have found in almost 10 years in the Texas House, and I just noticed that Vicki Goodwin, who is my colleague in the Texas House and always in the trenches with me, what I have found in almost 10 years in the Texas House is that the reason there's not money for our schools and our communities and our priorities, the reason we all pay more and we all get less is because we are all paying the Greg Abbott corruption tax. So let's start with education. Last year, in the last session, Greg Abbott passed his voucher scam after receiving $10 million from an out-of-state billionaire, Jeff Yaz, who has an interest on this privatization. He turned his back on our kids, on our public schools, and on our communities. Let's look at our electric bills. Y'all feel like maybe your electric bills have gone up a little bit lately, paying more for electricity? Because you are. Because after Winter Storm Uri, when the gas companies withheld gas while we were freezing some, too many, literally to death in their homes, they waited, and Greg Abbott allowed them to wait until the price was so high that they could make billions of dollars in hours off of our suffering. Greg Abbott decided we would all pay for those profits. He socialized the cost of that, and he got $1 million from the CEO of Energy Transfers after that happened. Beto was just here talking about the outrage, the brutality of these ICE raids and the detention centers, and congratulations to all who were part of shutting down that effort. But the detention centers, the Amazon warehouses that are being converted to warehouse people, Texas is ground zero for that. And why is that? Why is it that Texas is the only state in the union that allows for little children to be locked up with their parents in these detention centers? So someone just said the point is cruelty. I used to believe that. More and more, I believe that the cruelty is the flash bang, is the pyrotechnics to distract us from the corruption. Because this is all about money. Because now these detention centers are run since last year by private prison companies. There's two main ones, Core Civic and Geo Group. Greg Abbott received tens of thousands of dollars from these private prison companies to his campaign, and then created a new kind of licensing to lock up little children in their parents. Anywhere else in this country, that kind of treatment would be prosecuted as child abuse. It is a damn shame. Let me say I'm proud of the work we've done in the trenches in the House over the last 10 years. We broke quorum in 2021 to save our voting rights. We saved Sunday morning voting. We saved free and fair elections because they were trying to give elected judges the power to undo election results. We broke quorum in 21 and saved that. In 2021, we won huge investments into our neighborhood public schools. That was 2019. That was after 2018 Democrats swept and Republicans got scared, right? In 2023, we beat Greg Abbott at his voucher scam. We did in the regular session and 4 special sessions after that. We all did that work together. It's been hard. I wouldn't blame you if you're tired. I'm a little bit tired too. But we have slowed the bleeding playing defense. The problem is that this year he won his vouchers. This year he created 5 new Republican congressional seats. We've just lost too much. And we have nothing left to give at this point. And that's why I made the decision to stop playing defense and go on the offensive and run for governor. Beto was here talking about, only Beto would say, we're so lucky to be in this moment in time. Before we broke quorum this last summer, I had dinner with Beto, and we were talking about these 5 congressional seats, and he said, Gina, you're so lucky you get to do this and be in this situation. And I was like, really? But he said, because you get to take the fight directly to Donald Trump, and so many people wish they could. Well, the thing is that as Texans, we are going to decide not just the fate of this state, but the fate of this country. And let me tell you why. Quite literally, let me tell you why. A few years ago, I was visited from somebody who watches national politics, and he came to meet with me to tell me, look, here's what we need you to know. We need you to know that Texas is going to gain 4 to 5 congressional seats by the end of the decade because Texas is growing faster than the rest of those states, than the rest of the blue states. We're going to take congressional seats from California and other blue states. And what happens if Texas doesn't flip blue by the end of the decade, and now we have 4 years left to do that, if Texas doesn't flip blue to have control of redistricting when those new congressional maps are drawn, and that's done by the Texas House, the Texas Senate, and the governor has veto power, there cannot be Democratic control of Congress for a generation because the math no longer works. And Because congressional seats equate to electoral votes, there cannot be Democratic control of the White House for a generation, because the math doesn't work. And so this gentleman who does national politics and decided to pay me a visit after my third special session fighting vouchers when I was already feeling a little bit tired, ended by saying this: the way we see it, the fate of the union depends on Texas. And just last week, the chair of the redistricting committee, hey Mihaela, another House member I'm honored to serve with in the Texas House in the trenches. Just last week, the chair of the redistricting committee, Todd Hunter, went on an interview and said, you know, because we're going to get these 4 to 5 new congressional seats, we're going to start redistricting in preparation for that in 2027, next session. They're going to redistrict the Texas House and the Texas Senate. And they're going to look at those congressional maps again, because they see what's coming. And that's why when you elect me, I will veto those rigged maps. And there's every reason to believe that this is doable. We just released our only poll of this campaign, and it shows we are only 3 points behind Greg Abbott. That is within the margin of error, so that is a statistical tie. We see all across this country, all across this state, Democrats are overperforming by double digits, winning where we haven't won sometimes ever. Beto talked about Tarrant County, but let me tell you, as I travel this state, it's not just Tarrant County. It happened in Cy-Fair, where we picked up 3 school board seats against millions. And as soon as those new school board members got seated, they put the books back in the library that had been banned. We just won the mayor's seat in Leander outside of Austin. Before that, we won a city council seat in Leander outside of Austin. We flipped the mayor's seat in Robstown. It's happening all over this state. It's happening organically because the timing is right, and people have finally woken up and are turning out. Young people are very motivated. Our poll shows, and by the way, this ain't just my poll, it tracks with all the public polling that shows we're within single digits, and that independents are with us in a big, big way, and that young people under 30 are with us 29 points over Greg Abbott. So look, this man has a lot of money, because that's what happens when you're the most corrupt governor in Texas history. You don't get $100 million in your campaign coffers by doing the work of the people, right? He has a lot of money. We'll have to raise tens of millions of dollars, and we'll do it in any way you can help, please. You can go to ginafortexas.com to help. But I need your help in every single way. I need you, Beto's right. We need you in big, in a way you've never been in big. These next 9 months, and I think it's a little under 9 months now, we're counting down. We're gonna need to work like we've never worked before. Because while the challenge is great, the opportunity is greater. And so I'm asking you humbly, please be in this with me. In every way that you can be in this with me. And for each of us, it's different. We all have our different talents and our different treasures. And I'm asking you to please use them. Let's do this. We can do this. Together, we can bring in a new day in Texas. So thank you so much. I'm Gina Hinojosa. I'm running to be the next governor of Texas, and I will be with your help.